Let's go, Brandon and de Blasio. Let's go, Brandon and de Blasio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drew Hernandez Live. My name is Drew Hernandez, hopefully one of your favorite podcast hosts here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and toggle on the all selection right now. Listen, you guys know the deal. Share this video right now. Get the link. Post it on your Gab, your Parler, your Getter, your Facebook, wherever. Send it out in an iMessage because we're extremely deboosted on this channel, so you know it's hard to monetize on this channel. So if you would like to support this show and my work here on this channel, on this show, we do super chats at the end of every single show. So drop a super chat now, in the middle of the show, or at the end of the show. We do Q&A at the end of every single show. That is how you could support me. Or for as low as $5 a month, join the membership section on this channel right now. Or you can drop a one-time donation via PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. The link is in the description. It goes directly to my website. Or go to the merch store. You can cop one of these t-shirts right here to support me and my work and what I do. This show and this channel is not supported by the network I work for. It is supported by you, the people. So you guys keep this channel afloat. I truly do appreciate everything that you guys do. Like I said, smash that like button, destroy that like button, get this transmission out. I thank you guys very much. Let's go. Okay, so I was in New York for the past 7 days. I announced it pretty early. I announced I was going to be there. I did a live while I was there because everyone knows what is going down there with the jab mandates. And I just want to come out and say this, YouTube, to the overlords. we got to make sure the overlords know what I'm talking about. This show is not about speaking out against the jab itself, okay? This is about speaking out against the jab mandates. Just want to please our overlords over there, on YouTube, so they know what we're talking about, because you guys know how it goes. But Dr. Fauci, please, Lord Fauci, please don't smite us in your anger. Give us grace and mercy. We ask you, Fauci. You guys know I'm kidding. But anyway, so I was in New York. So shout out to all my followers in New York. Some of you guys I got to meet. I got to hear some of your stories. My heart goes out to you. Sometimes when we do these edits for the network, we don't get to pack in like 30 interviews all at once. So we'll probably have to do multiple edits because there's so many people. There's thousands of people that are being put out on the streets. This is happening in California, and I'm focusing on California soon, especially that being my home state. But I'm only one man, and I can only be in one place at one time. So I was in New York this past 7 days. And so last Saturday, one of the two that I covered, and this is continuing to go on, was the American King Foundation with Angela Stanton King. She put on a Truth About the Virus conference to speak out against the jab mandates, predominantly targeting to educate the Black community. So if we can get this up, just to give you guys a little bit of a nuance on what this was, let's get this up. Epoch Times covered it, but I'm going to give you guys my news package. Don't allow them to enslave us. Black Americans protest against the jab mandates in NYC. Brooklyn, New York. A group of almost 100 mostly African Americans gathered at the Brooklyn Bank in New York to express their opposition to the jab mandates. The mandates, YouTube. The jab mandates, YouTube. Let's see if they censor me for covering and speaking out against the mandates. All right, let's see what happens. On October 2nd, New York City has implemented jab mandates on healthcare workers, school staff, and all those who work or patronize restaurants, bars, nightclubs, catering halls, event spaces, gyms, fitness centers, pools, theaters, museums, aquariums, and zoos. According to recent NYC.gov data, Blacks are the least jabbed ethnic group, with 40% of them considered fully jabbed. The meeting was vibrant and often involved talk of rallying spiritual power. It was hosted and organized by Angela Stanton King, founder of the American King Foundation, and Kevin Jenkins, CEO of Urban Global Health Alliance. A lot of people were confused about this. Are they BLM supporters? Is this a BLM thing? No, it was not. A lot of these people are conservatives, Trump supporters. Angela Stanton King was actually pardoned by the Trump administration, by Trump himself, received a pardon. This is one of the quotes from Jenkins. Black Americans all across America are waking up. They realize modern day slavery is upon them again, Jenkins told the Epoch Times. Well, I'm going to play you guys. There's some photos. Let's take this down. I'm going to play you guys my exclusive. So get ready, guys. I'm going to play you guys my exclusive news package of this event. for you guys just right now. So I got to do some interviews with some of the speakers, Tony X Montega, Joe, she's a political activist. You see her probably in all the videos, just preaching her heart out. Obviously, Angela Stanton King, Antonio Screen, a local pastor as well, and a doctor. Got to get her opinion on this, so I have to be careful with what I put on YouTube because obviously they could obliterate the channel. But Black Americans seem to be at least attempting in New York, in Brooklyn, to reach out to the community to wake them up with what is taking place literally right before their very eyes. So without further ado, guys, I want to play you guys the package that I covered this past Saturday, Brooklyn, New York, American King Foundation. Enjoy. Drew Hernandez here in Brooklyn, New York, where behind me, Black Americans have gathered in a community center in protest to the jab mandates and the vaccine itself and COVID-19 and how it's being weaponized and mobilized not only against the Black community, but against Americans as a whole. We're going to talk to some of the speakers, not just Black activists, but also medical healthcare professionals, including doctors.
I'm the founder of American King Foundation, and we created this organization back in 2018 when we were working with the Trump administration to help get the First Step Act passed, and not only that, but to reduce recidivism. Since then, I've run as a congressional candidate, and I'm paying attention to a lot of the issues that are on the rise and how they impact the Black community.
I'm very, very happy to be doing this with the American King Foundation, Angela Stanton King, and frontline doctors. Dr. Simone. We all got together and we started talking about what can we do to empower and give power to the Black Americans to protect their rights as citizens in this country. I think that's the most critical thing. And I think once they hear this narrative coming from Dr. Madej and other doctors around the country, once they hear the legal ramifications about what's getting ready to happen, I think they're going to take a different position.
I believe that for the last 60 years, pastors have played a major role in the Black community. They're such a solid voice of influence over their congregation, and so I would like for them to just really get engaged more with things that is taking place that is destroying our communities, and be a voice that they can be able to listen to and follow. So that's my message. I want them to really start showing up, start standing up, and start speaking up, and don't just take anything that's being fed to you.
I'm an osteopathic internal medicine physician, and I do telemedicine, and I've owned my own clinics, been medical director.
Why do you think the government is doing this, forcing this upon people, the Black community, all Americans, when professionals like yourself, okay, like people we would trust to help us in a life or death situation, they're even putting them out on the street and silencing them whenever they take to social media? People are starting to ask questions. Why do you think, your professional opinion, why do you think the federal government is doing that?
Follow the money, right? There's a lot of money to be made. People have been bought off, and the corporate interests have invaded. Medical education has invaded all of our governments. This is a one world agenda that we're facing. They call it Agenda 2030, something called the World Economic Forum. They plan to get rid of all the countries and make a one world government. So people need to realize why we're confused and distracted by COVID and injections and these kinds of things, lockdowns. Look at what the government is doing, what the world is doing. They're moving towards more of really a communist kind of society.
When you identify a person, a people group, and determine that they need to be vaccinated, that is scientific racism. Yeah. Do you understand me? That's discrimination. When I walk in and you're asking me if I'm clean or unclean, that's pretty much what you're asking me. Right. So that's when I deserve service, depending on if I've been vaccinated or not.
Oh, there's a huge portion of Black people that are not vaccinated. So, in effect, these vaccine mandates are discriminatory, and it's bringing back a sense of Jim Crow law, just not by vaccination status, and they just don't see the correlation whatsoever. As usual, Black people and people of color in general were being used as a way to just fuel political division in order to get votes, and once they get what they need, then they just forget about it. If you are not a liberal, and if you're a conservative, and if you have a different opinion than what the mainstream media is saying or the scientific community, they don't want to hear about it. Your Black voice does not count whatsoever.
What they're doing is actually helping with the education of the Black community, and this is the reason why the Black community will not trust them. If you lack information and you say something and I know that you're wrong, it would be my opportunity to present you the truth, to show you like this is what's, this is what the truth is about it. And because they're not doing it, it's making people actually wake up, because they're going to the extent of saying that we're going to censor if you say anything bad about it. We'll remove your whole account. People are actually saying like, this is a setup. This is something, that we need to be alarmed, and we need to actually start coming together.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the event that took place in Brooklyn, New York, this past Saturday, where the black community, those that are conservative, those that are awake, those that are concerned, those that are seeing freedom violated, are reaching out to these communities in Brooklyn. And they do this in Atlanta. I believe they are planning something in Los Angeles, hopefully. But Angela Stanton King is definitely on the move here. And what people need to understand is this: segregation is back. It's back. Yes, this is happening to the white community, the brown community. This is happening to the Asian community. This is affecting everybody. But to the black community right now, I want to speak specifically to you guys, it's back. Segregation is back. And the reason why, I know maybe a lot of people may not understand, that didn't suffer through racism, legitimate racism, through the civil rights era, anywhere like that, where there were separate water fountains. I don't deny that happened in America, and it was evil and it was wrong. Racism should just die and go to hell. I'll tell you that straight up right now. That's what I believe, and when I see it, I call it out. But what I want to say to the black community is it's a little more personal, and that's why you heard Joe say in the interview. And she's awesome, by the way. She's got a heart of a lion, man. When you see her out there on the street just preaching her heart out, she's about it, man. And she ain't no grifter like these BLM people you see out here, all right? So shout out to her. But what I want to say is this: it's a little more personal to the black community. That's why you hear her say, it reminds us of Jim Crow laws. What does she mean by that? It puts the black community back into a position of being segregated again, even though it may not be intentionally a racist policy that comes out and says, well, black people can't be a part of this. It's doing that again. That's what's happening. Because if you go right now to New York City, if you try going into a gym, or you try going into a bar, or you try going into a music venue or whatever, and you even go and you see, I was walking around New York City, I was walking around Manhattan, you see the signs on the doors: no jab, no service. You see it on the store. This business requires you to be jabbed fully. You need to present your passport. You need to present your papers. It's a little more personal to the black community because it causes them to be reminded of the dark history of racism that is real in this country. I don't deny it. It's absolutely real. It happened. That's why we had the Civil War. That's why we had the Civil Rights Movement, to remove those racist policies, real systemic racism, and move forward. But where I depart from Black Lives Matter and all these cultural Marxist psychopaths and sociopaths is it's not that racist anymore. But look where we are now. Is it surprising to any of you out there? The Democrat Party, historically speaking, and this is a fact, they are the ones who wanted to defend slavery. We had a civil war over it. They're the ones who wanted to oppose the civil rights movement. They wanted to keep segregation. They wanted to keep separate bathrooms for blacks and whites. They wanted to keep separate water fountains for blacks and whites. They wanted to keep segregation alive in the United States of America. It's the Democrat Party. We've been trying to tell you guys this for years. So does it surprise you that the ones that have brought segregation back, they've brought it back in 2021 in the form of medical tyranny, in the form of, we care about you. No jab, no service. You are being effectively discriminated against, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're brown, whether you're Asian, doesn't matter. They have a new class of human beings in the United States of America, and it's black or white. No pun intended. It's either you're jabbed or you're not. They've rolled it out in New York. They're rolling it out in California. And they're going to want to roll it out if they could. If these authoritarian sociopaths, okay, if they could have it their way, this whole country would already be a communist utopia. And we all know what that means. Breadlines, people suffering, violence rising. Venezuela, okay? Cuba, shutting down the internet when people are trying to protest against the government for human rights. If these people could have it their way, that's where they would have all of us, regardless if you're black, you're white, doesn't matter. Ruling class, the elites, and the peasants at the bottom that get crumbs. That's what these people want. But is it a surprise to you guys that the Democrat Party, okay, the ones that have a history of implementing this kind of policy, has brought it back? Effectively brought it back. And it's a little more personal for the black community because they've had to experience that. That's a fact. But now this is destroying all of us. I've talked to teachers. I talked to healthcare professionals. I talked to people that do not, white, black, brown, Asian, you name it. People that do not want to be forced. And listen, I've even talked to people on the ground like, nobody's being forced. Nobody's coming to your house and forcing you to take a jab against your will. They're not pinning you down. Yeah, not yet. You give an authoritarian an inch, they will take a light year. These people don't learn. The left doesn't learn. They think, oh, if we appease these policies, we just give up this freedom. We give up that freedom. Just give up a little freedom just for some safety. The federal government cares about us. When the hell did the United States of America ever get this mindset? You want to know when? When the cultural Marxism, the neo-Marxism, the communist indoctrination invaded our universities and has convinced a generation that this is okay. And somehow these neo-Marxists have, I mean, that's what they do. The neo-Marxists, they control the culture. They infiltrate the culture so they can infiltrate the masses. That's why you're seeing this. They do it through media. They do it through art. They do it through culture. They do it through music. They do it through movies. They do it through freaking Blue's Clues, son. Yes, Blue's Clues. If you haven't seen it by now, they're singing songs about every single sex that exists in their figment of their imagination, and they put the flags up. Okay? That's neo-Marxism. That's what that is. Cultural Marxism. That's what you're seeing in this country. So what I'm saying is this is they have brought this back because this is about authoritarian control. This is not about left or right. It's not about black or white. It's not about race anymore. What people are waking up to is, well, what about all the race riots? What about all the talk about black voices matter and black people matter, and now black people who don't want to get jabbed are going to be put out on the street to not be able to feed themselves? Yes. Why? Because this is not about left or right. This is about the elite, the global cabal that is coming down and wants to destroy the United States of America from within. It's either you bow to the regime or you are a peasant at the bottom and you can't survive. That's all. That's it. It literally is as simple as that. That's where these people are taking us. And you're like, Drew, how do you know that? Because look around the world. Look around the world. Look at China right now. Look at North Korea. Look at Cuba. Look at Venezuela. That's where this stuff goes. There's a ruling elite, a ruling class, and there's no middle class. It's just desperate peasants at the bottom. Why do you think they're importing millions of desperate people from foreign countries since Biden took office? Everything is about being replaced at this point. And I'm going to get to that next. Don't let me forget that, okay? Everything is about being replaced at this point. All right? Everything is about being replaced. You're seeing this common thread through everything. They want a ruling class and they want peasants at the bottom. It's not about race. They just use black people. The Democrat Party, the radical left, and the silent rhinos on the right, they're all together. They're on the same side. This is why I don't support the Republican Party. You'll never catch me supporting the Republican Party. Never. Because the deep state is on both sides, son. That's clear by now. My allegiance is to God and to the truth and to the Constitution of the United States of America, whether left or right. That's what I support. I do not have party loyalty. I don't. I'm a Christian. That's just like weird, all right? I'm not loyal to a political party or a side. I'm loyal to the truth, to the values that come from biblical truth. And as a citizen here on earth, my citizenship is in heaven. And second, my citizenship is American. So I submit to the law of the land, which is what? The Constitution of the United States of America, not lawless mandates and decrees. A lot of pastors get this wrong because they're stupid. oh, just obey the law of the land. The president, the governor comes out with an unconstitutional mandate. You just got to obey it because of Romans 13. No, I am not obligated to submit to an unlawful mandate that violates the law of the land. The law of the land. A lot of pastors are so stupid. We don't live in Rome, bro. We live in a constitutional republic. There's no singular man that we all obey in this country. We are in obedience. We are in subjection to the law of the land, which is not Joe Biden, which is not the governor, which is not the mayor. It's the Constitution of the United States. You want to know why? Because they are in subjection to the Constitution too. And if they are not in subject to it, as a Christian, I don't have to obey you. Because the law of the land defies what they are doing. So, you guys know how I feel about that. But anyways, this is not about left or right. The radical left, they use the black community. That's what all 2020 was about. And this is what it's always been about. They manipulate the blacks. They exploit the blacks. They use the blacks. They keep them in a psychological slavery so that they never, ever leave them. And that's why Angela King is doing what she's doing. That's why all these people are coming out to Brooklyn. They're trying to target the black community just to wake them up, just to educate them that this stuff is happening, bro. Wake up. Look where you are. No jab, no service. No jab, no service. That's exactly where these people are taking us, and it's not about race. It's about class. There's only two classes, the elites and the peasants at the bottom. That's all that exists. It's all that exists in these communist, authoritarian utopias. So, for those of you that were paying attention this weekend, I covered that event on Saturday, and then on Monday, there was a massive protest at the Department of Education. Teachers, thousands. Let me give you guys the story. Let's put this up. Here's the story. Teachers rally against New York City DOE. That's the Department of Education's jab mandate. There's a couple photos. I was there, and I'll play you my footage right now. They're trying to teach the city a lesson. Hundreds of people, most of them Department of Education staffers, protested the agency's jab mandate as it went into effect on Monday. It's a couple days ago. The crowd gathered outside the Department of Education headquarters in Brooklyn, waving American flags and holding signs that read, "My body, my choice." They also say, "We gave everything and now we're nothing." And choice, not mandates. Another veteran said, "I just think this should be a personal choice," one veteran Brooklyn special education teacher told the New York Post. There's some more. Teachers, paraprofessionals, and other DOE employees at the rally said they had been officially placed on unpaid leave with health insurance after refusing to get the jab. Others said they were still being paid but weren't allowed in their schools as their religious or medical exemption requests are still being considered. Some of them are also, I can confirm, I talked to some people, some of their religious exemptions are being rejected as well. I can confirm that because you see her right here? You see this black lady with the mask on looking down at her phone? I spoke with her. She told me that her religious exemption was rejected. And she cannot go into the school. She can't work anymore. Some 4,000 DOE staffers, including 2,000 educators, were still unjabbed as classes started Monday morning, according to the United Federation of Teachers. They will now be placed on unpaid leave or have the option to depart the DOE with severance. About 18,000 jab doses were given to public school staff since Friday. It's crazy, man. That's crazy. Bringing the number of jabbed teachers and staff to 97%. Those who received a shot over the weekend were allowed to return to school Monday. Some DOE staffers at the rally said they knew of colleagues who had only gotten the jab because they couldn't afford to lose paychecks and had families to worry about. This is abusive. This is abuse. This is intimidating someone with something and power that you have over them, that if you take it from them, they can no longer survive without you. This is what abusive relationships look like. If you've ever known anyone in an abusive relationship, I'm no psychologist, but I've talked to many people. I've talked to many of them. I've had many conversations with psychologists that you all hear them say the same thing. Whenever someone's in an abusive relationship, the abuser will always make the abused feel loved, but then turn around and make them feel scared from ever losing them, because they make them believe that their existence depends on them alone. That's why anytime you talk to someone from an abused relationship, they all say the same thing. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you just walk away? Because I felt like I couldn't live without them. They made me believe that I needed them to survive. That's abuse, psychological abuse. That's what this government is doing to teachers. Teachers. Well, the crowd swelled to the point that cars were unable to travel down Court Street in downtown Brooklyn until cops opened up the block. Oops, sorry about that. Cops opened up the block. Some honked their horns in support of the protest, while several shouting matches broke out between the protesters and people passing by who backed the jab mandate. Police had to step in several times. It was never violent. I was there. Though none of the arguments escalated beyond yelling and close-range finger-pointing. Yeah, there it is. New York Post cleared it up. Well, let's take this down. I want to show you guys my news package because this is exclusive for you guys. So without further ado, here is my coverage of this protest that I just showed you guys about. Take a look.
Drew Hernandez here in New York, where the anti-vax mandate protest is underway. Right behind me, look right here. There are hundreds, possibly thousands of people that are preaching freedom over fear. They do not want to be controlled. They do not want to be the ones that are going to be authoritarian controlled right now. Listen, we have one right here. What do you have to say?
Drew is a liar. He sold us out. He's a liar. The classrooms are never safe. The classrooms are a mess. He had 18 months and he sold us out for a vaccine. He's a liar.
I work in the school system, and I was told that I no longer can go back to work. Friday was the deadline at 5 p.m., and myself and other educators are out of a job now.
Well, what is happening is that I cannot get into the building. I cannot reach out to my children, my students, because I refuse to take the jab. And this is impacting me to the point where I have to face an early retirement. I'm 56 years old, and I was supposed to work until I was 62. Now I cannot. And they gave us two choices. We have one, get no money, stay for a year with some health care and no money at all. So that's tying my hands. The second one is you get some money, but you have to resign. Either way, by next year, they will resign me. That means I would have quit my job. So therefore, I didn't quit my job. My job quit me.
As a parent, I came out here to support these teachers. I have two sons in the public school system right now, and it is going to affect us. It is going to affect my children. Substitute teachers don't have the amount of experience to teach our children, and then now we're in a situation where we might have to take our children out of the school system and homeschool them.
What is your message to the federal government, the state government, the people that are destroying people's livelihoods? What is your message to them if you want to look directly into the camera and let the people know?
Cut the bullshit.
We've been talking to a lot of people today, educators, parents, and one of the big concerns that we've been hearing is who's going to replace you guys? Just some random person off the street? Who? What are your concerns with that as well?
Well, I mean, for the teachers in general, they will try to pull in whatever subs they can pull in. And these are people that obviously they don't have the experience, they don't have the emotional bonds with the children that we have had from working in those buildings for years. And for speech and language providers, I don't know. I guess they'll have to try to contract out to agencies with other providers who hopefully are licensed, because you do have to get a license to do this. You need to earn a master's degree to do this. I'm assuming they'll try to get whatever contractors might be out there that, you know, possibly don't even have experience working in the school system and understand what that's like, and they'll try to fill the gaps if they can. If not, the children will not get serviced, and I just pray to God that the parents are aware and that they realize that this is happening and that they have a voice and that they use their voice, because as of now, children are, the DOE is not in compliance. and they're actually breaking the law. They're not fulfilling the mandates for these children that are on my caseload. Those poor babies, they're not going to see me today. They're going to go, where's Miss Catoir? She's not coming to get me today. And it's a sad situation. My heart breaks. My heart breaks.
A lot of these kids see us as not just as their teachers, but as their family. I have kids from 18 years ago still coming to me, running up to me, hey, Pops, thank you for saving me from that gang. Thank you for saving me from poverty. Thank you for saving me from people that never cared about me and showing me that I had worth.
Because we're supposed to save the children of tomorrow, right? We're supposed to, like I said, teach them how to think, not teach them how to be submissive slaves to the system. My body, my choice. My body, my choice.
I am here on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, where protesters have taken to the streets to protest the recent authoritarian policies that are destroying people's lives. I have Joy here with me right now. She's one of the political activists, very outspoken. What can you tell us, Joy? What's the message today?
Well, right now we're making our way to City Hall, and our message is very clear. We want our jobs, and we want them now. There's no reason that any of us should have been terminated, fired, put on unpaid leave, unable to get unemployment, or unable to work anywhere else. They're placing strangers in the schools to work with our students when we have 20-year, 30-year veteran teachers that have lost their jobs.
Joy, what are you hearing on the ground, and what is your message, particularly to the federal government, to the local government? What is your message to them today that you guys are trying to convey?
The message today is our body, our choice. We have rights. We have rights to our body. We have rights to freedom. America is essential to understanding that freedom is number one. Freedom is number one.
That's right, Steve. You can hear the crowd if you want to pan to the crowd. There are hundreds, possibly thousands of people that are protesting on the Brooklyn Bridge right now with their signs. I'm my own shot caller, my body, my choice, follow the money, X the science. There are a lot of people here that are allowing their voices to be known because these vax mandates are authoritarian and people's lives are being destroyed. You can see it's happening in real time out here on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, and people are not going to be silent.
Bystander to bullying. Do not be a bystander to bullying.
Wake up, New York! Wake up, New York! Wake up, New York! Stay strong. New York is holding the line. I need you guys to understand something. If we stop in New York, the rest of the world is going down. And forget about us adults. The children. The children. Yeah. It's all about the children because if we don't fight for them, their generation is never going to know what freedom is. If you don't have freedom over your body, you are a slave.
Based. It's pretty based. If you don't have freedom over your body, you are a slave. Pretty based, man. Gives me chills hearing that. First thing I want to say is I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you guys think that was amazing. Drop a 1 in the comment section below. Shout out to New York and all the patriots and everyone that loves freedom. I hope I did it justice. I do my best to capture what's really going on, get as many interviews as I can, and try and just compact it to just kind of, boom, just punch it out there. Because the mainstream media won't touch this stuff. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to see people standing up to the jab mandates because they don't want that narrative to come out. So drop a 1 in the comment section below if you guys thought that was pretty good. But I also want to say this is if you listen to the interviews, the story that I kept hearing over and over again from the parents, from the teachers, was the children. The children, the children, the children, the children. These educators are concerned with who their replacements will be. Now, they could be people in the Department of Education. They could be people that are required, that have the right requirements on paper to teach, or the right license on paper to teach. But there's a bunch of people, I talked to so many of them, teachers, they're saying all these people in the Department of Education, they're recruiting thousands of them to replace us. But a lot of these people just sit at a desk. They hate kids. There's a reason why they're sitting in those desks and not working with kids. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing it's a reinstallment. Do you guys, I've always talked about this. When the police get defunded, it's not just to remove police. It's to reinstall them with a new regime. People that aren't going to question the authority, people that aren't going to question the agenda, people that are just going to submit to the regime. The defund the police, you're going to see this in the military. You're going to see this at the Border Patrol. That's why when they slander the Border Patrol agents, right? When they slander them at the border saying, oh, they're whipping black people. The federal government, Biden comes in and says, oh, we're going to fire those guys immediately. Take their horses away. There's always some kind of reinstallment plan. And you predominantly see it with the defund the police agenda. But there's a removal and then there's a reinstallation. And you're seeing it with the education as well. They're going to do this with everything because they need people. Even with the medical healthcare professionals. NYC, thousands of healthcare professionals don't want the jab, so they lose their jobs. And what does the governor come out and say? Who's going to replace them? National Guard. We're just going to get people in there that are just going to do as they're told. Do as they're told, not question what's right or wrong, what's constitutional. We are going to get in a regime of people that are going to comply with our authoritarian agenda, that are going to just push in terms of education. This is what I think. This is my opinion. Okay. And I gave my opinion to teachers and they're like, Drew, you're probably absolutely right. I said, they're going to reinstall educators with people that are not going to have a conscience. They're not going to question the federal government. They're not going to question the curriculums that come down in the future with all the propaganda and all the perversion and all of the stuff that's just destroying the minds of little children, right? They're going to install people in there because, listen, if they could get people in there that don't care about freedom and that take a job against their will, it's either you put this in your body or you do not have this job. If you can get people in like that, they'll do anything. If they have no self-respect or autonomy for their own bodies over a paycheck, that person will do anything. They need people in there that are obedient to the regime, that comply with the authoritarian policies, and that won't question anything. They're not going to question all the propaganda that comes. They're not going to question all of the curriculums that are going to start to continue to pervert the minds of children. They're just going to obey. Oh, so you don't want to work here, right? Oh, no. I'm going to keep doing this. If they have no self-respect for their own bodily autonomy, what the hell makes you think they'll have respect for your children? And doctrines of demons that come in to infiltrate and propagate the minds of little kids. What makes you think that they'll stop and say, hey, that's not right? Or they'll come out and say, no, we're not going to do that. If they don't have enough self-respect for their own bodily autonomy, they won't give a damn about your children. That's what teachers are concerned with right now in New York in the Department of Education. The replacements aren't going to be people. There's relationships with these kids. Deep relationships. You heard that teacher. The guy straight up came out and said, I still have kids decades later that come to me and thank me for helping them leave that gang or leave that lifestyle. It's one of those teacher-student stories that saves the life of a child. That's going to be lost now. It's devastating. So many relationships between students and the children. That's healthy. That's okay. It's okay to have a healthy teacher-student relationship because that plays such a huge part in somebody's life. For me, I could come out and say, I remember the teachers in elementary, junior high, and high school that had a huge negative impact on my life. But I could also remember the teachers that had a huge positive impact on my life for the good. And if you remove that, listen, one of the things, I don't know if you guys heard, but one of the things Joe was saying, the political activist, she was saying, all we've been preaching to the kids is the virus, the virus, the virus, fear, 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 jab, 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 comply, comply, comply. We don't even teach the kids anything that much anymore. They are being taught, listen, what's happening to the next generation, they are being taught to comply against their will through fear. As they experience this, as they watch this, the K through 12, the next generation is being groomed to not put freedom first, but to put the knee down first to whatever the authoritarian regime is threatening them to do. That's what's happening. And the next generation, that is exactly what's happening. They're training them, they're grooming them not to put freedom first, but to bow the knee to whatever the authoritarian regime is telling them to do. That's what these kids are learning. You know, it's crazy to go back to the protest last Saturday with the Black Americans that were against the jab mandates. One of them, she was telling her story because it was Joe, again, because she was working in the education system. She said every single day we would go to school and the kids have to come in and they all get a temperature device pointed at their heads. It just tripped me out when she said this. I don't know if this is what she meant, but this is how I interpreted it, what this can do psychologically to a kid. She said that we go to school every day. All the kids, they get a temperature device pointed at their heads in the shape of a gun. So every day the kids are coming in and they're getting, in the mind of a kid, what are they thinking? A child. Remember when you were a child and you misinterpreted things? Like your imagination went wild. Listen, as a kid, I've said this before, when I was a child, I used to think everything on TV was live. Like I would watch Survivor and I thought it was literally happening in real time. Like just stuff like that. You misinterpret things because you're naive like a kid, right? What do you think it's doing to kids that are going to school every single day, getting a temperature device pointed at their head in the shape of a gun in order to give them access into something? Because if they don't get it right, they can't go forward. What do you think that's psychologically training a kid? It's training them to get comfortable and used to guns pointed at their head, or else if they don't comply, they can't gain any access. I don't know, that might be too far of a stretch, but when I heard that, I'm just like, that's insanity. Because this next generation is being groomed to accept authoritarianism. They're going to get used to objects being pointed at their head in the shape of a gun. So when it finally happens, they're already ready. They're already used to guns being pointed at their head in order to give them access into something, unless they got the right answer or not, if they've complied or not, or if they have the right whatever it is that the one pointing the gun at their head wants to give them access to. This is psychologically training the next generation to accept authoritarianism. It's happening across the board, bro. We can't deny it at this point. And it's sad. And it's sad. The kids are being taught to obey. Do you guys remember that clothing brand, Obey? Based on propaganda, you'd see it in like skate shops and the t-shirts with the big eye, Big Brother. It's real. It's here. It's not just China anymore. It wasn't the Soviet Union, not Russia. Look at Australia. It's here now in America as well. And how much longer are we going to still have the freedoms that we do? Texas, Arizona, some of these center states in the United States of America, central states, and a little northern as well. How much longer? How much longer till the entire country becomes New York? Till California turns into the entire country? A lot of Zoomers, a lot of millennials that are ignorant to political history is California during the days of Ronald Reagan was red. Completely Republican and conservative. If you would have told someone at that time, hey, California is going to be a deep blue state in the next 15 to 20 years, people wouldn't have believed you. But a lot of Zoomers are like, that's never going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. That can't happen to Arizona. That can't happen to Texas. There's no way. With that mentality, without you getting up and pushing back when these people try and just bring communism into the state, it's going to happen. It'll happen right under your nose. Because it happened to California. And I'm not trying to black pill here. I'm just being honest. It could happen. This is where we are. Alrighty, guys, Well, that's my report for today. We're going to do some super chats. If you guys love my work, I hope this work did it justice. If you guys would like to support me, drop a super chat below. We'll do a quick Q&A for the next 10 to 15 minutes. I hope you guys support my reporting and my channel. You guys are the ones that support this channel. It's very hard to monetize because I'm extremely deboosted and shadow banned and throttled on this channel. So if you guys would like to support me and what I do in my reporting on this channel, on this show, drop a super chat below or drop a one-time donation through PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. The link is in the description below. Or go cop a t-shirt. Or join the channel for as low as $5 a month, joining the membership section of this channel. So guys, if you guys would like to support me and this work, I hope this guys really does justice to what the protests were this past weekend. These are stories that the mainstream media doesn't want to touch. And it makes sense, right? Because they don't want the narrative coming out that there's black people that don't want the jab. They don't want the narrative coming out that there's educated people. Isn't it funny? How at the beginning it was like, oh, you're just a stupid person. You don't want the jab. You're just a stupid QAnon supporter. Oh, you're just some random person on the internet that's uneducated. Okay, well now we have teachers, educators, medical healthcare professionals, doctors that don't want the jab. So what's the answer to that? They're stupid and uneducated? No. That's not what it is. It's that they don't want the truth to come out. That's what they try and suppress. That's what we've been seeing with the Veritas videos. That's what we've been seeing with all of this stuff that's been coming out, that it's showing what the truth is about the jab. But this episode is about the jab mandates. People are being forced against their will. Their entire careers are being hung over their head. It's either you take this jab or you cannot survive in the economy. That's what the mark of the beast is going to be when the Antichrist comes. It may not be a jab, but it's going to be some kind of mark that gives you access into the one world economy. That's exactly what it is. That's where we are. So like I said, if you guys would like to support me in my show, leave a super chat or a one-time donation on PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. We got a super chat here from Christina Marie. We got a $20 super chat. Shout out to you, Christina. We salute you. Thank you so much. Everybody say thank you to Christina. Christina says, keep up the good work, brother Drew. Keep up the good work, brother Drew. Love ya. Indiana Red forever. Thank you so much. Yes, it's a lot of work. I'll tell you, when I travel to the East Coast, it's a lot because I'm used to Pacific time. So I get jet lagged and running around these protests are long. But you guys know I've covered the riots. It's nothing new to me. But this stuff has to continue. We have to tell these stories. Because if we don't tell these stories, people are going to think that they're not happening. They want to cover this. When you look at some of the New York local media, it's nothing but negative media. Anytime they talk about these protests, it's in negative light, like they're just stupid people. Because they want to control the minds of the masses to believe that that's bad. You shouldn't believe that or even look into it or even listen to it. These are the bad people. We're the good people. Just get jabbed. You're fine. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace because it's like, these are people, medical healthcare professionals. So our medical healthcare professionals, doctors, RNs, the list goes on. Are these people stupid because they don't want to get the jab and I'm supposed to believe that? Okay, well, what about educators? People that I would entrust K through 12, if you're in a public school system, people that you would entrust to teach your children for more than a decade? So they're just stupid now, right? Just stupid people, I guess, that just don't want the jab. And we're supposed to believe that. You see what I'm saying? They don't want that coming out. They don't want that narrative coming out. Oh, black Americans are against us? That's only supposed to happen against the scary racist Republicans and anyone that supports Trump. No. We can't show black people being against us because that's not our narrative. The narrative to control the minds of millions of lemmings is that the black people are supposed to hate the Republicans and the Trump supporters and the conservatives, not the Democrats or anyone that's left-leaning. That's why they try to hide this stuff. That's not supposed to come out. We have another super chat from Readout Productions, $5 super chat. We salute you. Readout Productions says, good work, Drew. Live in PA. I'd say the pops politics are evenly split. The rural middle has its voices drowned out by Pitt and Philly. It's frustrating. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny because these people, they claim to want democracy. Sometimes democracy can actually be weaponized and used against the society. This is why we're a constitutional republic. We're not a full democracy, because then you could get a mob rule. Why do you think we have the Electoral College? Because if we don't have the Electoral College, if we have a full-blown democracy in the United States, you could end up with a mob rule. The founders knew this. We don't want to be ruled by an authoritarian king, dictator, but at the same time, we don't want a mob-ruled society, because this could turn way south and it could get violent real quick. So the Constitution is who we are all in subject to, whether you're the President of the United States or a police officer or a citizen. Why do you say that? Because listen, I have my First Amendment rights. I have my constitutional, I'm in subject to the Constitution. It's not a mob rule. It's not a full democracy. The point I'm trying to make is, don't you think it's interesting? It's always funny how these people, to go to your point, Readout Productions, to go to your point is, these people want to rule. This is why they want to abolish the Electoral College. Because they want mob rule. That's what they want. And they play on the mental illness of all the Marxists in universities. Yes, democracy. Yes, mob rule. Because they want to, they want to use, this is what the communists have always done. They use the mob rule to usher in this utopian mindset, while at the same time, the government at the top is saying, let's use them to bring in a power, because the communists continue to say, well, let the government take care of it all. Let the government take care of all of us, feed us, X, Y, and Z, house us, you name it. And then the authoritarian government sitting there saying, okay, yeah, let the activists do what they need to do, get the people on board so that they can be the ones to infiltrate the culture to convince the masses that the government should be in full control here. That's what they did in China. That's what they did. Mao did it. So that's what they do. And then once the government's fully installed, they wipe out all the activists. Useful idiots. Why? Because it's not about a democracy. It's not about a utopia. It's about control. Oh, I could already hear the socialists. Yeah, because it wasn't done right. Well, which one was done right? When are they going to get it right? Karl Marx himself didn't even get it right. He promised a worldwide utopia and it didn't happen. It only happened in his country. So the neo-Marxists and the cultural Marxists had to come up with some excuse to explain why Marx got it wrong. Oh, he didn't fully infiltrate the culture. That's why it didn't happen. That's why we didn't infiltrate the whole world. So who's going to get it right? Screw it. Anyways, we have a $100 donation from Deborah Cannett. Thank you, Deborah. Everybody say thank you to Deborah. Thank you so much for supporting the show. A frequent supporter of mine. We salute you. Deborah, thank you so much. Let me see if there's a message on here or if it's on there. Whoa, I don't know why that just did that. But thank you so much, Debbie Cannett. We thank you so much for the support, the continued support, and every single one of you that support us always and all of the time. It really means a lot to me, more than you guys know. Debbie does say here in the chat, awesome job. Awesome job. Thank you, Debbie. Completely am thankful. She also said that was wonderful to see all not being masked. Yep, absolutely. It definitely is. It's good to see that people just kind of stand up for themselves. Yep. Absolutely, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie says, everyone should consider joining as membership to DH Alliance. Yes, thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you so much for the support, the continued support. It definitely means a lot. We're trying different things with the show. It just, my schedule, I can either go on at 4 p.m. Pacific or 7 p.m. Pacific. It's varying right now because my schedule, I travel a lot. So I hope you guys can forgive me that my schedule is kind of jumping around, because I'll just straight up fly out to New York and go capture that to bring it back to show it to you guys. So I truly appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have another super chat from Stevie Capone with the $5 super chat. We salute you. Stevie says, I wish the Biden administration would acknowledge the historical reason why so many people in the black community are against the jet. Absolutely. Gulf of Tonkin, there's so much the black community has been targeted by. The radical left has a very dark history. The Democrat Party doesn't want to acknowledge their history with slavery, their history opposing the civil rights movement. There's so much that the black community has been targeted by and utilized by, especially when it comes to medical tyranny and when it comes to anything medical with their bodies or their communities. But they won't talk about it. Why won't they talk about it? Because it's twofold. Because you got to ask yourself, why are these people so concerned with what's said on the news or with what's said in the mainstream or with what comes out? Why? Because they don't want the masses to be thinking differently. It's not that Joe Biden doesn't want to look bad. It's not that Democrats don't want to look bad. It's that they don't want the millions of people, they don't want the hive mind to wake up with the truth coming out about who they are and their dark history. That's what these people do. And that's what they continue to do. Because that's who they are. And shout out to Stevie Capone. I think this just popped up right now. Stevie Capone, shout out to you, my brother. Stevie has officially been a 6-month member of the DH Alliance. Shout out to Stevie. Thank you for the support, bro. I know you reached out to me to help out with your YouTube channel. Just keep going, man. We'll try and get something together soon, man. We definitely will. Stevie has officially become a 6-month member of the DH Alliance, guys, for as low as $5 a month. Thank you guys for the support, man. I truly do appreciate it. It means a lot. It really means a lot. This is a very hard industry to be in, especially when it comes to the censorship and getting deboosted. But I mean, it's like, this is where I found myself. This is where I find myself. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you very much. Yep. Shout out. Shout out. Praise God, Stevie Capone. We thank you, man. We praise God for you, brother. Cold Haterade with the $5 super chat. We salute you. Cold Haterade with the $5 super chat. These swamp politicians are outnumbered by patriots 1,000,000-1. We could fix everything overnight. I'm disappointed it is not happening. You want to know why, man? It's because of fear. It's because of fear. You can control anybody through fear. Whether it's the fear of taking away their ability to live financially, or whether it's the fear of taking their ability to live away completely, or it's the fear of being slandered by the masses, declared a terrorist for coming out and speaking out against the federal government. This is why this is happening in this country, because there are people that are living in fear. There are people who deny it, right? Because you guys know what I feel about the police. I'm not 100% back the blue. Why? Because I only back the good blue. Because the bad blue does exist. A lot of conservatives just can't comprehend that. Look at Australia. When you end up in a police state, who's enforcing the police state? It's the cops, okay? So whenever I see police officers, if a police officer is not doing his constitutional job righteously, I don't support you. Whether it's one or an entire department. If you're doing your job constitutionally and righteous, I support you. I back that blue. There's blue that is horrible, okay? And I'm not all Black Lives Matter saying, oh, just screw all the cops. No, what I'm saying is the same goes with teachers. I don't back every single teacher. I back good teachers because there's teachers out there. I posted it on my TikTok. I posted on my Instagram. The teacher that's like dancing all provocatively, twerking for 7th graders with a mask on. Okay, I don't support that. I support the good ones. The point I'm trying to make is this: is anytime I talk like this, I always get messages from conservatives and back the blue people, and they come out and they say, "Oh, that's never going to happen here. You're just anti-police." I post videos of Australian police officers cracking the mouths of old ladies because they're not wearing masks, authoritarian policies enforcing that, and conservatives go, that's never going to happen here in America. Oh, really? Really? Cold haterade, that's why we're losing. Because there's people in this country that think that this cannot happen. That's how we lose. When we get passive and we start living in this reality where authoritarian globalism, like we're untouched, it could never affect us. That's how we lose. This country was founded on opposing tyranny. Fled it, opposed it, fought against it to keep it. That mentality can never leave us. But you got a bunch of people, conservatives, oh, Drew, you're just a cop hater. You sound like BLM. That'll never happen here. That's how we lose. That's exactly how we lose. People who think like that. People who think that Donald Trump is going to save everybody, okay? It's going to take more than Trump. Where were you 2020? If you believe what you believe about the elections and the conclusions of 2020, Donald Trump was supposed to drain the swamp. But if you believe what you believe about the 2020 elections and how that ended up, the swamp drained him, bro. And I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it's going to take more than that. It's going to take more than that. We have to defend the Constitution. We can't depend on just one political figure. We can't depend on just one political party. We have to depend on what our constitutional values enable us. And us collectively as Americans and human beings need to be vocal in every lane of life that we have. Just saying. But conservatives don't like when I talk like this because it's just like, it's too true. I'm telling you, sometimes I post stuff like that and the messages I get, some people will message me, I never thought about that, Drew. That's true. I mean, look where we are. The FBI is going after Trump supporters, calling them terrorists and putting them in jail and trying to get them to stay in jail for more than a decade. But back to blue, though. Unconstitutional. That's what I don't back. I back good cops. I back the good blue. Just want to make that clear. Because if you use that logic, you could use that logic and put it on the Nazis. I've talked to police officers before. I've talked to their families, and they're like, yeah, but we got to blame the politicians. They're putting them in this position. And I was like, well, that's what the Nazis said. The Nuremberg trials. We were just following orders. No. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. We have another super chat, a $2 super chat. We salute you from Jeffrey Fath. I don't know if I pronounced that wrong. Forgive me, bro. Jeffrey Fath, $2 super chat. It was awesome to march with Drew in New York City. Hey, man. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you in New York, bro. I'm trying to do the best I can to bring coverage to it, bring eyes to it. I wish I could get more involved. I really want to get more involved. I mean, people are always asking me, when are you going to run for this and that? I'm just like, man, maybe just one of these days I got to just bow out of media and go run for something because I feel like this is where it needs to go. I'm not announcing anything officially, but I'm just, I could just sit back and enjoy my life and just cover this stuff for the rest of my life. But how much longer can I enjoy that before the deep state comes down on all of us? So I don't know, pray for me. There's a lot of decisions that have been going through my head, but yeah. Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Tomorrow we will either be live at 4 or 7. We'll see. I'll announce it in the community tab on my channel. So just stay up to that, guys. Sometimes my channel just changes, so it'll be somewhere in that time. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I truly appreciate it. Thank you guys for the super chats. Make sure to share this transmission wherever you can. Post the link wherever you could post a link on your Gab, your Twitter, wherever. We have one more super chat from Christina Marie with the $5 super chat. We salute you. Legally and constitutionally armed and ready to rumble. Pray for peace. Absolutely. Absolutely, Christina. I just got to be very careful with what I say, not just on YouTube, but publicly. Yes, we have the Second Amendment right to defend ourselves. We have the Second Amendment right to bear arms. And constitutional scholars believe that was written to defend ourselves from a tyrannical state or government. So I'll leave it at that. All right? Not calling for violence. I'm just citing the Constitution of the United States. So why do you think they're trying to get rid of our amendment right? They want to get away. They want to take away our First Amendment right to say this stuff, and they want to take away the Second Amendment right to defend ourselves from the ones that want to take away the first. So do the math. That's how it goes. So thank you guys so much, man. Make sure to share this transmission wherever you can. Post the link wherever you can. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification and toggle on the all selection. Like I said, if you want to support my work and you love what I do, drop a one-time donation on PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. The link is in the description below. Thank every single one of you guys. Shout out to the DH Alliance. I will see you guys tomorrow, either at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure to check the community tab on this channel so you can stay up to date with my schedule, because sometimes it changes. Shout out to every single one of you guys. Love you guys very much. And thank you for the support. Until next time, America, stay free.